Okay. Are we working? Appears that we are. All right, how we doing, guys? This is Hack Nation Live. I'm your host, Aaron Bennett. As always, coming to you every Wednesday night, at least whenever I can, 7 to 9 Central Time. Good to see everybody. Phone lines are open. We already have one caller, so heck, we are waiting for people. Go ahead and test the phone lines, see if they're working here. Number to call in, guys, is 573-422-4225. That's 573-422-4225. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right after it. Skylar Donner, let's see if our phone line work. You're on the air.
How's it going, Aaron?
Good, man. What can we do for you?
So I've been talking back and forth with Chrissy. I don't know if she had shown you that video that I had sent in today. I was the one that ordered the stage 2 turbo from you guys for my B model. But I sent in a video today as well. When I give my B model throttle, it's collapsing my intake boots. And I've checked my air filters. My air filters look good. My vacuum gauges are showing in the green. But yeah, I haven't seen that before. And I mean, typically, in those intake boots, there's those rings there to keep it from over expanding, not collapsing. So.
Hello, is this working? Why can't I hear anything?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I just can't hear myself, which is really weird. That's okay. Long story short, man, right out the gate, and my first question is going to be, what horsepower rating do you suppose that your B model is, to the best of your knowledge?
So when I bought this truck, I've owned it for less than a year. Just had a new end frame done on it. I was told that it's pushing about 800. It's got bigger injectors. Just got the stage 2 turbo from you guys. It's got aftermarket intercooler.
I mean, right out the gate, I mean, if you had 800 horsepower, it would just be sitting there rolling black smoke.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly what it's doing.
I mean, when you start it up from day one, it just sit there and like if you had it in the shop, you wouldn't be able to be in the shop. It would just be rolling fuel, unburnt fuel, black smoke around the clock. The problem you're describing.
Yeah, it's not to that extent.
The problem you're describing to an extent sounds like, my first guess right out the gate was going to be the turbo's too big. That was going to be my first guess. But that turbo is not too big for something with 800 horsepower, right? But the idea that you actually have 800 horsepower on a B model is mind-numbing, to say the least. There's no B model built on planet Earth that can handle those kind of numbers, not and do anything with it at all, other than going to a track and racing, once or twice a year and probably rebuilding it in between. So I don't understand what are we trying to achieve here?
And right. And that's kind of what I was thinking, when you buy things, especially, off marketplace, people tend to overbouse, numbers a little bit. And so I definitely firmly believe that it's pushing, 600 to 650.
So I build 600 B models all the time, and they don't smoke at all unless you have the throttle mashed, and then they'll smoke until the turbo catches up with how much fuel you're putting into it. I'm asking you, does that, when you're sitting there just chugging, idling, does it puff black smoke?
Once it warms up, no.
Okay, yeah, well, B models all kind of...
It clears up.
Okay,
Yeah.
it clears up.
Yeah, once it clears out.
Okay.
But, yeah, I mean, when you're...
I almost
when it's warmed up and you're driving
want to
it.
say an 800 horsepower B model is not even really a thing, right?
Right.
If you have an 800 horsepower B model, I'm not trying to be an ass, but you know, let's take the whole fact
No,
that
and
you
that's
something
exactly.
from us at all. Take all that off the table. Let's just pretend like I don't know you from Adam. All you're doing is fucking with a grenade. Why are you even wasting your time?
Right. And I mean, like I said, I personally just had it fully in-framed, I'd say 2 months ago.
You need and what did we use for a kit?
I don't know, because I didn't do the work myself. I had a cat shop do it.
Okay, so if Cat did it, Cat went back together with aluminum pistons and skirts, and good luck with all that one. You know, an aftermarket guy would went in with steel crowns, and you know, he would use an IPD kit or something of that nature, right? My suggestion, honestly, here's my suggestion: is you need to. If I was going to have it at Cat, I would have had Cat fix the pump. The problem is Cat would have turned the pump down to nothing. You might have been able to talk them into, you know, putting it 10 over or something like that. You know, and then all of a sudden that turbo is going to be doing what you want it to do, right? Most likely.
So the video that I sent, though, like I said, the intake boots are just collapsing.
Yeah, because it's
anytime I give it just a little bit of throttle.
If you're putting the fuel to it that you think you are, yeah, it's outpacing the turbo, calling for more air than it can send to it. And honestly, I'm going to go back to what I originally said. The turbo's too big. By the time that big fucking turbo gets spooled up, it's already sucked your boots in, right? I bet if you drop that to a stage one, I bet if you drop that to a stage one turbo that spools up dramatically faster, that problem probably wouldn't be happening.
So I had a stage 2 turbo on there. That's the turbo that blew originally. And then I had a second B model sitting at home. It got wrecked, it was rolled, and it had a stock turbo on it. I brought that stock turbo down here. I'm in Abilene, Texas right now. I brought that stock turbo down here, threw it on there to try and, you know, get me by for the next day or two while I was waiting for my turbo for you guys. And that's when, once I put the stock turbo on, that's when I started noticing it collapsing. And the video that I sent, it has a stock turbo on it.
Oh, yeah, your stock turbo can't. Your stock turbo can't push that kind of boost. There's no way in hell. Your stock turbo can't keep up with an engine like that. No way. No way. It's not even possible. That stock turbo pushes, you know, on a great day, 30 pounds of boost, but most of the time, 26, 28. That engine's calling for way more than that.
And on the turbo, on the cold side, I disconnected that intake boot from the turbo, and it was still collapsing the intercooler boots on the driver's side of the truck, on the cold side.
Yeah, of course.
I want to say that's the cold side.
Of course, it's calling for air that you're not providing it. Taking the turbo side off, so it's not doing anything, isn't changing anything. It's calling for 10 times more air than you're providing. It's calling for air so bad, it's creating a vacuum.
Okay. Yeah, I just I didn't know if Yeah, once I put this new turbo on, and I still had this issue, if there was something next to look at. Because I mean, I've had the stage 2, and it never had that problem before. And then I put the stock on, have the problem. But like I said, I disconnected the boot from the turbo, so in a sense, you would think that
I mean,
it wouldn't be getting vacuumed.
What happened to the first turbo? Did it grenade?
Yeah, the bearings just, I mean, completely grenaded in it.
Okay, so it probably all went into the air to air. Is it making any weird noise?
No, it's not making any weird noise besides it's doing like right now with the stock turbo on there, it's kind of making like a popping on the hot side of the turbo.
Yeah, it's making a popping noise.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know what's going on. Okay, the first time you grenaded the turbo, now you have a popping noise and it's collapsing the boots over and over again. You've dropped a valve.
Great. Okay. Well, and that's just from when the turbo grenaded.
Yep.
What sucked in?
Yeah, it went through the intake and it got stuck between valves and the piston. And what happens every single fucking time is you drop a valve. Maybe more than one. 100%.
Okay.
If you're hearing like a popping noise coming through the turbo, it's actually yeah, if you're hearing a popping noise coming through the turbo, 100%, that's what's collapsing your boots. That's everything. Anyway, brother,
Okay.
sorry to give you bad news, but you got to change that head. Either change it or sure it's cleaned so it doesn't happen. Put a new head on it. I do appreciate the call, brother. Started stacked up of people here.
Understood.
All
Thank
right,
you.
brother. All right, talk to you soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. Unfortunately for me, that's it. Is that ask me how I know one? Unfortunately for me, I have had that happen more than once. Lost a turbo and immediately lost a head with a drop valve. Anyway, somebody asked in the comment question, what do you recommend for carrying in a truck? Man, that really depends. On the Alaska Haul Road, I see there's a lot of callers. I'll get to you guys in just a second. On the Alaska Haul Road, it was kind of required that you carry certain items in your truck, you know, but it's a much more extreme environment. I always made sure my guys had an alternative heat source. They always had some airline antifreeze, coolant, oil, alternator, extra belts, flares, pulleys maybe. And then from there, you know, tire plug kit, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, I would always just mix it up. You know, all my trucks are pretty close to matching tire size, engine types, you know, and I would put, there'd just be a myriad of anything. There might be a starter. There might be an injector, you know, a couple injectors in a side box. Everybody just kind of had something. I even had extra turbo in the side box of one of the trucks. You never know. You never know what you're going to need. And guys on the haul road, that's kind of how they are. You know, if you break down on the haul road, pull over, roll your hood up. Ain't nobody going to drive past you with your hood up. So, you know, you end up with 10, 15 truck stop. Somebody's going to have in their side box the shit you need to get going again, whether it be an air quip or whatever, extra glad hand, who the fuck knows. Somebody's going to be able to help you get going again. But that is a very specialized place in the world for the average guy running the lower 48. The problem is you know, like one guy just put in the comments, the tow truck's number. Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality of it. Ain't nobody stopping. Ain't nobody helping you. Ain't nobody giving a shit. Really, your biggest problem is just getting off the road and dealing with it later. You know, if you're a single truck owner operator, you own the truck. most of those things I just named, outside of engine components and all that, are a really good idea just so you can get to where you're trying to go. But really, down here in the lower 48, where it's not life or death, a good tow truck's number, or a good friend, with a way to give you a tow. Anyway, back to the callers here. Just a different world down here, up there in Alaska, you'd be frowned upon really bad if you didn't have shit in your side box. But I would guess anybody should have tools, like this guy says here: tools, spare tire, extra boots, belts, lots of brass. That'd be all your fittings. I agree 100%. 100%. You should have all the things to fix minor shit on the truck. You should have a brass fitting kit. You should have a tire plug kit. You should have tools, extra fuel filter, yada, blah, 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 all that. All right, you're on the air, man. What can we do for you? George McKenzie.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello, brother. How's it going? Yeah. Question on your flow match injectors. Why are they better than OEM or anybody else's?
I'm not going to sit here and say they're better than anyone else's or better than OEM. The question is are flow match better injectors than not flow matched? The answer to that question is yes. Why are they better? They're better because they're mechanically all matched together, not just going into the solenoid and trimming them out to where they all run the same. They're mechanically matched, so they all spray the same, without relying on the electronics to do it, right? So a good flow match, a good flow matched injectors, I'll just throw the same trim coat in all of them, and it works out great.
Oh, okay.
That's what
I was wondering, because
like on a 8501 or an 8502, I'll just throw 1100 in there, and I'm not too hot and I'm not too cold, and and I can get a good 600 horsepower out of it if it's tuned right, and I can put it on all of them and not lose any sleep, because they've all been flow matched mechanically together. They're a matching set. If you're getting true flow matched injectors, they need to be a matching set of 6, right? You don't want to buy a flow matched injector. You need to buy 6 flow matched injectors that go together. If people are claiming they have flow matched injectors, and they're willing just to sell you one, that's kind of defeats the purpose, and it's really kind of a sign that they're really not serious about flow matched injectors. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. Well, other question on your programming. Do you do outside programming anymore, or like I got a BSX and I'm trying to get some better fuel mileage out of it?
So, programming anything, is a quick way to get put out of business and end up with prison time with the United States government. So we just shy away from all that kind of stuff. If we do any tuning at all, we stay in the parameters. The best suggestion I would give you is, there are some big time tuners on social media that you can track down, like Mario, and he doesn't care whose shit he tunes because he's in Canada, so he's kind of immune to getting in trouble. I don't use Mario, but he's a very available guy,
Well, I'm from Canada, but I'm down in the States a lot. I'm just looking for a good tune and trying to get some fuel mileage.
Oh, well then come on by. We'll help you out.
Well, don't be surprised, because I've been talking to Thomas on the injectors, so
yeah,
maybe see you next week.
Yeah, you're all good. We'll help you out. Come on by.
Okay, well, thank you, brother. You have a good show. I love watching you. I love your videos. Keep it up.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
You guys would be surprised. When we were there in North Dakota, Canadians were a huge part of our customer demographic. I'm sure you can imagine. We were in North Dakota. We were at the top of North Dakota. Canadians were closer neighbor to us than any other adjacent state, and a huge portion of our business, probably almost a fourth, probably was all Canadians. And it really surprised me when we moved to Texas, the amount of Canadians that were willing to drive all the way to Texas to continue to do business with us was pretty cool. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Still do a lot of business with Canadians. I've always been very proud of that fact. Okay. I haven't even looked at the comment section on Facebook. I didn't realize I didn't have it open. Sorry about that, guys. Say I love you to Aaron. I am Aaron. I love you, buddy. Ha! I love you back. All right. Done. One request taken care of. Here we go. We're on our Orlando Ramirez. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hey, how you doing, bud? I just got an overhaul from y'all probably like 2 to 3 months ago. It's an AFA kit. I just switched out a turbo. I've been having some low power issues. Like I'm hauling empty, and it feels like it's kind of lugging down. Like, what would you think could be
what kind of engine?
A possible culprit of that? It's a C15 6NZ.
Are you getting any check engine lights at all?
No check engine lights at all.
And it wasn't having this problem.
And I replaced the turbo also.
Okay, it wasn't a problem, and it is now.
No, like it wasn't a problem until like after I did the rebuild.
Okay.
And then that's when I started noticing started low power, you know.
I mean, low power. So you just have to run through the things it could be, right? The most extreme case could be we're losing all our power into the crankcase. If that was the case, your truck would probably be getting covered in oil from the blowby. I'm assuming that's not happening, and it would probably be smoking you out.
Yeah, no.
Okay. So if that's not the case, we take that off the table. We have fuel, we have compression, we have air. That's all we got. And then we have sensors that monitor all that and decide to give us more power or not. So it can only be a few things. You have a boost leak really bad. What kind of boost pressures are you getting?
Probably around 25 to 30.
What kind of engine? I know it's a cat, but
cat 6NZ.
Okay, 6NZ.
C15.
Okay, so right there, big problem. It's not nearly enough boost. So your throttle, no matter how much you push it, is not going to give more fuel for only that much boost. So we either have a boost leak somewhere, or the engine is not telling it to keep going more because it's derated, or it's not able to read that boost, so it won't fuel. So boost pressure sensor, intake air temp sensor, something like that.
Actually, just got that changed out also, a boost pressure sensor.
Okay, so have you done an air-to-air leak down?
Yeah, we did a pressure test.
Okay, and?
Everything looked good. Changed out the boots too, to E-boots and everything.
And what kind of turbo?
It's a Bog Warner 78 with a 132 housing.
Okay. And what horsepower rating?
It's a 550.
Okay.
Stock.
So all of these things are fine. It has to be derated.
Derated?
Mm-hmm.
What would I need to do?
I don't know. You have to figure out why it's derated. If all of those things are within the parameters, your injectors are fine. Your air-to-air test came back fine. The turbo's not fucked up. The fins aren't all messed up and this and that. The engine itself is deciding not to let you have your power. That's some troubleshooting that has to happen by your ambient pressure sensor, like people are saying. That would be your
Yeah, I was seeing a lot of like the barometric sensor or the altitude sensor.
Yeah, that's your barometric pressure sensor, which, yes, it has everything to do with your altitude. Your intake air temp sensor, ambient air sensor, something like that, man. For some reason, it thinks that something's not right, not optimal, and it's not letting the fuel go to the injectors to justify spooling it up.
All righty. I'll go ahead and check some of the stuff off that list.
When you had it overhauled, if you didn't do new sensors, I would go after that, and you said you just did a new boost pressure sensor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So intake air temp sensor, barometric pressure sensor.
Take air temperature sensor and barometric sensor, pressure sensor. Got you.
All right, brother.
All right, have a good one. Have a nice show.
You too, brother. Thank you for calling. Bye. Brian and I have a cat that's missing. That's the description. Well, run around and put posters up. Somebody will find your cat. I don't think that's what you mean by missing. How you doing, man? You're on the air.
No.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'm doing good. Anyhow, yeah, I called in prior on the first of the year, Christmas time. I had a miss pulling, say I grab a gear. When I grab it and I come completely out of the fuel, it would stutter when I would pick the fuel back up. But when it got really cold, it went away completely.
Mm-hmm.
When it warmed back up, it came back.
Mm-hmm.
I did the injector test or the cutout test.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3 was bad. I replaced it, and it's still doing the same thing.
Because you
So I took it to another shop.
You most likely still have a bad injector. Let me. Okay, so here's the thing. I just want to. I've experienced this many, many times, so I know you're going to tell me more, but just let me take a crack at it right away. If the problem goes away when the fuel is cooler, the fuel is thicker when it's cooler. It's actually a really big deal how much it thins out when it gets hot. And injector problems can seem like they're not there when it's cooler, just for that reason. But most likely, it's actually something to do with your check valves. Check valves are incredibly susceptible to the temperature of the fuel. When the fuel's cold, that check valve will work great. And when the fuel gets hot, if it's weak or got some shit in it or something like that, it will just pass fuel like crazy. And all of a sudden, you'll have problems and it will miss. And it will be just like you have injectors out.
Right. Well, I changed both of the two in the housing.
Okay, perfect.
The feed and the return.
Okay. So you probably still have a bad injector. You're not throwing any codes?
So, no, I'm not throwing any codes. I can't seem to get it unless I at least have the trailer on it. And they're starting to throw around the idea of different places, ECU and all this, and I still think it's an injector.
Oh, no. Don't let somebody fucking change your ECM. I mean, it could be an injector driver, but that's just, I've had to change CAT in ECM before for an injector driver one time in 15 years on hundreds and hundreds of engines. Okay. We're just missing one of these injectors. You do a test and they all come, right. They come back good now, or? Right.
I've had 2 different people and all of them come back good now.
I'll be honest with you.
But when I get it nice and warm pulling, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just really use that as a rule of thumb that if a guy is doing a cutout test, the actual cutout test that Cat provides, and they come back okay, I'm assuming that's what they did, and they sent you a picture of that.
Yep.
Okay, if that's actually the case, it's most likely not an injector.
Okay. And that was, well, see, I don't know what program these guys are using. If it's, 'cause I didn't have it at an actual Cat dealer.
Okay. Then they didn't do a Cat ET cutout. Were you there when they did it?
Right. I was with the one, not the other one.
Okay.
And
so
the guy that originally
when they did it,
had number 3 bad.
Did he just set it up and walk away? And it seemed like the truck was going to explode, and it was it took about 10 minutes of it doing it all itself.
It didn't take 10 minutes, but it did do it itself. It did one cylinder at a time, and it would, as it cut it out, it'd have a dead miss.
Yeah, no.
And number 3 didn't. So he.
Okay, so
and it smoothed out on the way it ran. But
he was standing there cutting them out and getting to find those dead misses.
Right.
Okay, so you need to take it to a shop that doesn't think they're smarter than the computer, and let somebody
Okay.
do the Cat ET cutout test so they can actually find the problem. This is what that looks.
Sure.
Let me tell you what it looks like. Okay. The guy will hook up the computer. He'll start the cutout test, and it cuts 3 cylinders out at a time, or 4, or whatever it is. And then he can just walk away. It takes about 5 minutes, and you will swear to God your truck is going to explode while it's happening. But nobody's doing anything with the computer. It does it all itself. When you walk back over, it will tell you okay for every injector, or which ones are bad. It will say not okay. If that's not the test they're doing, then you're wasting your time until you do that test.
Okay. And it's called an ET?
Yeah.
Test? Is that what you just said it was?
It's going to be Cat ET program is going to do that test.
Okay. Alrighty.
If a guy's standing there, if your mechanic's standing there cutting them out himself, say, thank you for wasting my fucking time. I need to go somewhere where they don't waste my time.
All right. Sure, because that was like $750. So, anyhow,
we don't.
All right.
For that.
The only. Right.
So
I'm in Ohio, so.
Right. All right, brother. Well, get to a better shot.
All right. Yes, sure. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. I don't like this chair. I need to get a different chair. It doesn't lock. Oh, what the hell? I don't know how to lock it. Maybe this button? It like leaned back the whole time, and I don't like it. Anyway, quit my crying. Quit my crying here. Let's any upgrades to a 5EK, to water pump or dual thermostat. I'll be honest with you. I've owned 5EKs, the E models, 6TS, 1LW, 2WS, 6NZ. Never owned an MBN, but I owned BXS, NXS, MXS. I basically owned every single Cat ever made, except for the C16. Had the prior version of that. I didn't own the C16. I didn't own the MBN, and I didn't own the SDP. I owned all the other ones. And I can tell you that I've never seen any benefit, like not being able to control the temperature of the truck. All doing the same jobs, by the way, and all doing hard pulling up incredibly steep mountains with heavy loads. Never, ever had a problem from, the single thermostats, the smaller water pump. Now, I understand, upgrading to the Acert water pump on a 5EK or 6NZ or something, or on a 5EK upgrading to the dual thermostat because you want to. I don't have any problem with those things, but I've never physically seen any difference or any shortcoming in not having those bigger cooling capacities on the prior engines. Never, ever, ever had a cooling problem on any platform. Anytime I ever had a cooling problem, it was related to accountability issue, cylinder head, something. And that was always due to some kind of an event, loss of coolant, something like that. Never, oh, I can't keep this thing cold because I don't have a dual. So no, I don't, just because of my own. Right. It's a waste of money, honestly. It just sounds like it's a benefit. The gentleman Steven there on TikTok, I agree 100%. It sounds like a huge benefit. It's just not actually in practice. So you're spending money you don't need to spend. They worked fine the way that they were. I understand that Cat upgraded, so to speak, as they kept coming out with them, but they didn't go back and retroactively say if you don't do it to the old ones, you're going to have problems, because they weren't a problem, is what it is. Back to the callers. Calling about a 60 series injectors and a turbo. What can I do for you, brother?
Hey, Aaron, how you doing, man? I got a question for you. I purchased a turbo from you, the stage one for my 60 series. I had a 831, and I love it. The only thing that I'm trying to understand, and I've changed my exhaust manifold, I've changed my radiator, I've changed all my hoops, and I still, for some reason, keep cracking the gaskets on the exhaust manifold. Anything that comes to your mind as to why I keep popping those gaskets?
Well, man, it's kind of crazy that you're asking me that, because I cannot believe how many times this week, and this week is only halfway up, that I have had phone calls from people asking me the same question. It's been the most asked question this week, even on engines that I've done. Guys are having problems. I was just talking to a guy. He's like a year and a half into our build here. He's like, hey, man, I've been having all these exhaust problems, and this is the first time he's told me about it. He's on his third manifold. He put after he left here, he put a PAI manifold on, I believe is what happened, and it just keeps having problems. PAI warranted that manifold 3 times, and he's still having problems. In my opinion, when we start to see manifold problems, you know, if it's on repeat, right? Not, oh, I lost a gasket, you know, because maybe it wasn't torqued down right, or the bolts, you know, loosened up after they heated up, whatever the fuck it might be. It's every time I repair this thing, it happens again and again and again. We have some kind of problem either on the cylinder head or on the manifold itself. Most of the time it's the manifold. It's not unheard of to have it on the cylinder head where we're just not flat, right? We're just not flat. Like when I was watching some of these guys make manifolds, and we were making a deal for our manifold that will be coming out soon, you know, watching them make plastic molds and testing the shit out of them. And I mean, that's the test. How flat can we get this thing from one hole to the next hole to the next hole? Because that's the most common problem. And you would think, you know, you have these asbestos type gaskets that are designed to take up those differences that you wouldn't see as many problems as you do, but man, they're just under so much pressure that it doesn't take much if one is just not torquing down as hard as the rest of them because it's being held out, because these two are just, you know, it's not perfectly flat either on the head or on the manifold. It's really the only way you can have a repeat problem in the same holes over and over again. Either you need a different manifold or a different or the head's fucked.
And see, that's what I'm thinking, because even though I've had this engine about 1.6 million, and I did my overhaul, everything went good. I went up to California. Normally, I try not to haul heavy, but I was at about 107,000 going up to Donner's Fast. The turbo and the manifold got red. So I was like, okay, so replace that. And ever since it got so red that I keep blowing these gaps.
What do you mean it got wet?
And everywhere I turn, I mean, the turbo and the exhaust manifold, I got the video. I was driving at night. It got so red, like, you know, when you rebuild an engine and you're trying to dyno it, it got so heated. I mean, it was literally glowing.
Okay. Yeah, you're warped. Something's either your manifold, most likely your manifold. You if you got it hot, it's warped, and you gotta, you know.
But I replaced the whole manifold because
All right.
they come with 3 sections.
Yeah.
And I replaced them. I got the turbo from you, and it's still happening.
All right. The head's probably compromised. It just won't put a good seal. It's warped, brother. It's warped. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's not. You're not the first guy where we had to change the cylinder head to stop losing gaskets.
Motherfucker. So, I mean, can I do any more damage other than this ticking noise?
I mean, it's kind of hard on them. It really is hard on them to not or to lose combustion like that. It really is. It's not something you want to ignore. You're not getting good fuel. You're losing fuel mileage. It's
yeah, yes, I am.
It is hard on them, brother. It's hard on them. You don't just want to let it go. You know. I don't know. I mean, do you have a performance manifold on there?
No, sir. Have a stock 66. With me, other than your turbo, and the only reason why I went with your turbo is because I was down in Texas. I talked to one of your boys. They talked me into it, and I love it. But I never change anything. I keep everything stock. It's set at 500. Other than your turbo, that's it.
You know, those performance manifolds, okay? And I'm not trying to sell you a manifold here. A performance manifold, they're just way more massive, and you know, especially if you get a good stud kit with with a performance manifold, you're really going to be able to crank those down. You might be able to get away with that. They're just so much more robust, way more robust.
So if I, let's say, go with you know, a exhaust, like a performance exhaust manifold, when I pull that off, should I not see any? How can I tell if the actual head is warped?
Oh, yeah, you have to have a machinist straight edge. Like I have, we own those, right? And you'll never have something more straight in your entire life, but you have to have it to find out for sure. You have to have feeler gauges. The round ones that look like cattails are the best for this, and you have to have a machinist straight edge. And that's how you find out. Or you take it to a machine shop and they use a ruby laser, or you know, a ruby to measure it, but that's a pretty expensive venture there.
Because I'm in San Antonio twice a week. I mean, is this something that, you know, I can come to your shop and you guys take a peek at it and tell me, hey, your head is worth, get a new head? Or
I mean, yes, but no, because we're so right now we're dying. We're drowning in our projects that we're trying to finalize and move at the same time. I've turned down probably 100 people that just wanted me to look at something for them. Or usually we're pretty open to doing that, and I just can't. We're dying. Yeah.
No, I understand. Do you recommend anybody? So do you have anybody? I go to Colorado, Iowa, and then kind of like South Texas and all of that. Do you know anybody?
We have about 50 shops around the country that are working with us. The feedback we get, the more we can narrow down. Just, you know, call the call. Same place that you talk to for the turbo, and those boys can figure out where you're going to be and someone to go see, and we would love to have feedback on it.
Yeah, so and I cannot remember his name. The guy at the call center. Oh man,
Jacob.
name
I mean,
Dylan.
okay, Dill. Yeah, he's
Listen,
good.
that kid. I mean, the kid walked me through everything, and I was literally blown. The kid knew his stuff. Answered every question that I had, walked me right through it. It didn't take much. It took about 45 minutes, and I was like, all right, let me order that real quick.
Yeah, they're good guys, and
So
they come down here and participate in everything we're doing here, so they can learn more and more and more. They're eager to know everything about an engine, so they can be so good at their job.
Yeah. No, it's much appreciated. And so just call Dylan and he'll be able to tell me roughly the area where you guys have these affiliates.
Oh, yeah. No, we can give you pin drops right to people's doors. We can call them and let them know you're coming and what, and to help, just tell the call center that I was suggesting that most likely your problem could be cured with a good manifold, a good performance manifold with a solid install kit, but you'd like a shop to look at it first, and make sure that we're not warped on the head, and make sure you tell that shop what happened, right? So they're not blind, they're not in the dark, and they don't spend 5 hours charging you 5 hours of just trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, right?
Yeah, no, understood.
All right, brother. Well, good luck out there, man.
Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yep. Bye. I know it's almost 100% of the callers tonight got something from our call center. That's kind of funny. Which is cool. It's cool. I'm glad that we're helping so many people, honestly. Let's see here. Who's my biggest customer? Oh man, depends on what you mean. Like who purchases the most engines from us? Who buys the most parts from us? So you'd have to narrow that down. Our biggest customer for engines, it kind of fluctuates. Probably our biggest customer this year is probably going to be Quadripump. I think we're going to end up doing 15 or 16 engines for them this year. And that's engines they purchase from us. So probably them. There's people that own fleets, that we do. There's people that own fleets that we do, we might do 12, 15 trucks a year for. So I don't know. It's hard to tell. Who is always jamming out on the Mexican music in my shop? Callers, I'm going to get to you guys in 5 seconds here. Just hang on. I saw your question about that earlier. Long story short, man, when we moved to Texas, if you don't know, San Antonio is 70% Hispanic. So if you're white here, you're a minority. So when we started hiring local people, I'm sure you could guess that it has been almost entirely Hispanics. So about almost half of our workforce at this point is Hispanic. So asking me who is the person playing Mexican music is almost silly, because about half the guys here are Hispanic and they're always playing Mexican music around the clock. So in fact, there's a little bit of a war over who gets to control the radio, because not everybody that works here is Mexican by any stretch of the imagination. And so I'm sure you can imagine. Any opinion on putting a 3ZJ back to work in heavy haul? Why not, man? Get her done. I saw you ask that a couple times. I don't know what the problem would be with doing that. Daniel asking about a Lion injectors. What can we do for you, brother?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I think I called you last week, and the Lion injector basically blowtorched my piston. They're basically went through the system, said the injector tested good, but it was a little high on some of the parameters. The thing has less than 150 hours on it. Why would it be high on the parameters within 150 hours? No contamination we can find, no metal, no other issues. But the parameters that they set are different than the factory specs. So why are we putting wore out Alliant injectors in brand new engines?
I'll be honest with you. I do a lot of business in injectors. In fact, the first 4 months of this year, we did almost 400,000 in injectors from 3 different suppliers.
Yeah.
Lion Hour is a company that I'm very familiar with, and but we don't use their injectors, so I can't give you any firsthand knowledge of their injectors. I can only give you some industry knowledge, and I believe I did last week when you called, just about how they manufacture a lot of injector parts and they supply a lot of people with their parts to build their injectors. But I don't know anything about Alliant Power's end product injectors that they build. I don't know anything about them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm looking at now. I'm looking at a $6,000 on top of another $3,000 injector repair job that they're saying the injectors are fine. So it destroyed an engine from overfueling, burn a piston up. They see all the pictures. It's definitely an injector overfuel, but is your pump bad? Why wouldn't a pump destroy 6 pistons instead of 1? Air issue, 6 pistons instead of 1. Oil issue, head checks out good, rings, everything was fine. So I think they're just trying to deny the claim, and I think I'm just fixing to have to eat it.
I mean,
I'm just looking for any other option.
So here's the unfortunate truth. Okay. And I've talked about this before. Industry wide, your odds of getting a part warranted from a parts manufacturer is about 4%. And that is in the aftermarket. And your odds of getting something warranted in the aftermarket world is dramatically higher than OEM. So let that sink in for a little bit.
Definitely.
4%.
So I've had 3 parts failures or 3 warranty claims in the past 12 years. And I've had 1 paid, which is actually pretty good. And one was a total engine failure, paid for the kit, paid for everything.
A guy kind of makes a point in the comment section. I do want to say something in Alliant Power's favor, okay? And I don't have any vested reason to do that, okay? They're not buddies of mine or anything. But the process for deciding if you're going to warranty something is, especially if they test the product, if it tests out, if it benches out fine, then they have to go with the results that they get. And then what they'll do,
no doubt.
And I'm the same way, okay? So, like we just recently had, here's a great example. We sell a lot of transmissions, a shit ton of transmissions. And we sell a lot of reman Wellers, and we sell a lot of brand new Eatons. Okay. Now you want to know what transmissions we never have a problem with? We've never had an issue with ever. The brand new Eatons. Ever. So I had to tell me that his Eaton is noise in 2 gears. In other words, the bearings on the cross shafts are having a problem. Okay. So my point to him was industry wide, and not only the ones we sell, but the ones that our affiliates sell, over 5,000 units, nobody's had bearings that were bad on startup. So I kind of insisted there has to be something going on. I made him send me pictures of the shift tower, of the input, the output, and what I'm looking for is leaking oil. He made a video of pulling the plug out and showing me the level. And I was making him jump through all those hoops because I have to look at the industry standards. So if Alliant Power has like this 3% or 5% failure rate, they have to base it partially on that and partially on their failure analysis. And if those two stars align, our failure analysis shows there's no problem. And industry wide, we're not having this problem. This is almost a unique problem to this guy. You're most likely not going to get anywhere.
Yes. So, but when I talked to the representative, the first thing he said, if you've not heard this 1,000 times, why would you say this? I've heard that 1,000 times. I said, well, I've been buying Alliant Power for a few years, just new to me, because I've been always bought factory. And then I said, well, I guess I'll just have to stop buying your product. He said, I hear that 1,000 times a day. That's an issue with me.
Yeah, it's called they don't give a fuck. I mean, you're going to have that with the
exactly.
Alliant Power is fucking enormous, man. People don't even understand how big they are. And here's another reason they don't care. All kinds of people you go do business with instead of them, they own those people.
Yes.
It's like
yes. I'm learning that. So like, I know they used to do remans for John Deere.
Well, it's like M&D. You could tell M&D, I'm not going to do business with you anymore. But 75% of the people that you're going to go do business with instead of them, they own them.
Yes. And that's the issue.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm like you, finding that mom and pop issue, or mom and pop people from now on.
Oh, we're having the biggest problem with it, man.
Not saying they're any better, but they care.
I mean, we keep getting shut out of different markets because guys like M&D will come in and, say, these 25 companies aren't going to buy from you anymore if you do business with them. You know what I mean?
So I was talking to my guy at Absolute about you, and he said he'd love to do business with you. So,
well, have him hit us up.
Didn't know if you were still doing that.
There are some comments here in the comment section I want to bring up to you just to think about. Okay. So, and I'm going to give you a quick testimonial, then I got to let you go. We got a lot of callers. Some guy just commented valve recession, and he's got a point. Okay. And let me just give you a little testimonial. A little while ago, we were doing a B model. Yeah, I sent the pump out and had it done, and we bought all the injectors and this and that. And that thing was having a problem on one of the holes. And so we changed the injectors and we got it warranted. Still has a problem on one of the holes. So we yarded the pump off, sent the pump back, had it tested. They insisted it was good. We brought it back. We hooked it up. Same problem, same hole. Right? And so now we've kind of run out of something to do, and we ripped the engine down and come to find out it was an us problem the entire time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the rings was broke.
So yeah, that's where we're at. I've had the head checked. Yeah, I've had the head checked. Actually, I pulled all 6 pistons out of this engine. The rings was broke on number 1, but I think it's because it actually looked like a oxygen acetylene torch had set on top of the piston and actually melted it. So it sent molten BBs through the engine.
Right, and like, I'm not saying I'm not saying that your claim isn't valid.
I'm trying to ask for advice. I'm trying to ask for advice of what else to look for. So we've had the head check. They said, well, maybe the intake valve was sucking oil. Intake valves, the clearance 2000s, everything was good. Valve recession good.
Then it was.
So I'm just like at a loss.
It's most likely the injector, but really the only thing you could do is not do business with them anymore, because I can tell you that trying to go the legal route is just going to waste a lot of money and a lot of your time.
That's where I'm at. I'm at a loss. I'm going to eat it, but I'm trying to find out who is a better supplier of injectors that's not dealing with M&D or / Alliance.
Boy, that's
It's Friday Parts.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
That's where I'm at. I can go back with Deere, but they will actually do the same thing as rejecting warranties.
What engine do you have?
It's a John Deere 8.1 liter with electronic injectors.
Okay, so Deere doesn't make those
8420
injectors.
John Deere. Exactly.
So you need to find out who's carrying Bosch injectors for that. I'm pretty sure Bosch makes
which
those
is
injectors.
Alliant. Bosch do not remanufacture that injector. I've tried. M&D says Bosch doesn't, which is the place I'm going through, which is Taylor Diesel, which is owned by M&D, and they can't find a Bosch reman injector for that one.
Somebody's saying Premco. Guys, Premco makes their own big cam injectors, and they make the best ones on the market, but that's the only injector they make. So,
they only make it for that.
They sell a lot of injectors, but they don't even make N14 injectors. They get those from
they get them from probably M&D.
No, they get them from Interstate McBee. So Interstate McBee makes all their own injectors.
So
here's what I would recommend, man. Just a suggestion. Call our place tomorrow and tell them you don't want Alliant Power injectors. What do they got? And see what they can figure out.
Gotcha.
They're going to have unlimited resources. There's a hell of a lot of people out there that do business with us. See what they can find you.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Definitely. I want to do as much business with you as I can.
Well, I appreciate that. But
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, sir. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
Okay, got to get to your callers. Promise. Give me a second here. One guy asks, will you break in your rebuilds on a dyno? Yes, we're working hard on getting our dyno up and running. I have an electrician coming tomorrow or the next day. He's going to look at it, getting it set up. We have welders coming. We may do a lot of the machining and welding ourselves, but we're going to get that dyno going as soon as we can, so we can dyno our engines before we let them leave here. It is a huge goal of ours. That little fiasco that happened where I didn't ask those people to send me the engine back so I could do a failure analysis, then it bit me in the ass so hard. Even though I took care of them, they blasted me all over the internet. I don't want that to ever happen to me again. The only way I can avoid that ever happening to me again is if I break them in here on a dyno, and then I know for a fact they ran good before I hand them over to people. And then if they fuck them up, we have proof they ran good. So you're 100% right. Our biggest thing is getting that dyno going. Another guy asked, why don't you do your own machine work? It's just allocating funds, my friend. You know, I don't use banks. I don't borrow money. My own Rottler would be a couple $100,000. I'd really like to own one. My boys and I talk about getting one all the time. But for now, you know, we do 60 blocks at a time. I get such an incredible deal. Nobody's ever heard about getting a deal as good as I do. I talk to machine shops all the time, and they just, I blow their mind every time I tell them the deal that I get on doing that many blocks at a time. Our cost to do it, and the machine shop picks them up, takes them all the way to Houston, does them all, brings them all back, puts me on like a net 60 on them. And I'm getting them done for scarcely more than I would pay to operate one of those machines, and pay someone to do them. So for now, it doesn't even fiscally make sense for me to do machining in-house. Really, the only one reason I wanted machine stuff in-house is just for the prestige of it, right? Just to take one more thing off the table where people can talk shit, pretty much. Yes, just an engine dyno, not a truck dyno. I have no interest in a truck dyno. I just want the engine dyno. I have an engine dyno. That's what I wanted. That's what we have. We lost one caller. Let's get back to the callers. We got two here. Let's burn through them and see if we can't get back to the comment section and spend some time hanging out there. Sam, C model cap. What can we do for you?
Yes, I had a ECM went out on my C model, and about the only place I could get an ECM at was Caterpillar, and they've got that thing so cut back that there's not a lot you can do. I mean, the guys I talked to says you need to get an EEPROM to go in ECM and then program it from there. Is that true?
This is on a 3406C.
C. So it'd be like the peak motor that like Peterbilt come out with.
Yeah, I don't have the tooling to do those. You're basically stuck going to CAT. As far as I know, I don't know anybody personally that can help you with that.
Right. So you don't know of anybody like I could get an EEPROM through?
No, I
That's
don't.
That's what they call it.
I think Pure Diesel
There's just
Repair
not
has
very
one.
many motors left out there.
The only guys I've
Who's
seen,
that?
the only guys I've seen using them on social media, which is to be about the only place I could see, is I'm pretty sure Pure Diesel Repair in North Dakota has the setup for that.
Okay.
You can find them on
Okay.
social media, Pure Diesel Repair, and see if you can't reach out to them. That's about the only thing I can think of.
I got a guy that can program it. It's just that he says he needs that EEPROM to go in there.
Right. I don't know how to help you.
I didn't know if you said you've owned every kind of cat motor there is. So
I mean, I can do
I didn't know if
it.
you've ever owned one of them or not.
I have all the tooling to do all the B models except for the Peak.
Except for the which ones?
The one you have.
Oh. I know. I've owned this truck for like ever and ever. I've probably put 3 million miles on it. I've hauled livestock with it for probably 15 years. Got a little geared. It's not a fast truck, but when it was set to like 465, I mean, it'd run with your 550 cats. I mean, they wouldn't take off and leave it. You know, anything always ran good and got good fuel mileage. So that's kind of why I'm holding on to it.
Yeah, and Cat also used to measure their power ratings a little different for your 4 1/4 is putting out a little more power than people give them credit for.
Yeah, well, they're pretty independent to deal with, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, I won't take up any more of your time. I'll give them guys a shout and see if I can't find something.
All right, brother. Good luck.
I didn't know if like highway heavy parts or somebody like that had something to go with that. Or
no, I'm gonna have shit. They're just a parts reseller, man.
All right. Thanks for your time.
All right, brother.
Yep. Have a good night.
You too, bye. What's this guy say here? Let me look back. Oh, could you talk a little bit about the 3126 Cat engine? You know, the 3126 gets a lot of hate. We've actually overhauled quite a few of those. I don't have any problem with them. And everyone I've ever overhauled had a shit ton of miles on them. A shit ton of miles. People call them throwaway engines. I've overhauled 5 or 6 over the years. I've never had one. I've never had a customer have, problems with them. And have to, overhaul them again or anything like that. I don't engines. I think they're great little engines. I mean, for what they're weak as shit. Yeah, they're weak as shit. They have to be in the right application. You're not supposed to put a 3126 in an on-highway truck. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with them being weak as shit if they're in the right application, a 2-ton, something like that. So anyway, we got one more caller here. Let's go ahead and take them. Like I said, let's see if we can't really get up into these comment sections, have one of those kind of nights. Philip Workman, what can we do for you, brother? You're on the air.
Hey, so I got a 1988 Big Cam 400. It's pushing air into the coolant system. We've done a combustion gas test on it, and it didn't come back with anything. But if I pull my RPMs up about 1,200 RPM and I let off the throttle, it just like tea kettles the fuck out of it. Excuse my language, sorry. Tea kettles the heck out of it. And someone thought it was my air compressor. I replaced the air compressor, and that didn't solve the problem. So I'm a little bit at a loss here.
Tea kettles the fuck out of it, but you're
system.
not getting any combustion gas in the system. Low flow.
Yeah.
So you have a 444 or what?
It's a 365 that was boosted up to a 400. So the engine code actually comes back as Big Cam 400.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have worked on a lot of those low flows. I hate them. I hate them so much. In fact, I hate them so much.
There's such a pain in the ass.
I will probably never work on another low flow ever again, just for the fact it's a low flow. I hate them that much.
Yeah, they're the STC motors, man.
I mean, I'm a little bit at a loss because so Pittsburgh Power has all the parts to convert it over to a high flow. Huh, I didn't know that. See, you learn something new every day. At least you try to.
Who has all those parts? I'm actually kind of interested.
Somebody in the comment section says Pittsburgh Power has all the parts to convert that over to a high flow. I've never heard that before, but
okay,
I wouldn't doubt it.
Interesting.
I don't have an easy answer for you. I don't have an easy answer for you, brother.
It might be my aftercooler, maybe, or something. It's just like
no. I mean,
I really feel like
the lack of combustion gas showing up in the combustion test is the only thing throwing me off. I mean, it's screaming cylinder head, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think I would get it. I think I'd get it hot and try it again for sure. You know, and make goddamn sure it's not combustion gas, because it's really, there ain't a whole lot it can be outside of that, right? Somebody said I've seen timing cause that. I don't know how timing could cause you to pressurize the cooling system, right? It doesn't really seem feasible at all.
Maybe.
I mean, you really got to run down what can pressurize my cooling system. Liners, cylinder heads, head gasket, compressor. That's pretty much it.
I mean, the head gasket's not terrible on these big cams.
Now, if your intake is water cooled, you know, like some of the older trucks are, that could be causing the problem for sure.
It is. It's air to water.
Okay. Then there you go. It's in that somewhere. If you're not getting any combustion gas and you're pressuring up the cooling tank like crazy, it's your air to water.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have a head gasket kit. I was just trying to.
Well, don't rip those fucking heads off. If you're not getting combustion gas, don't rip the goddamn heads off.
All right.
You're spending money. You're spending money on
get it hot and get it tested, huh?
I would test it one more time for combustion gas personally. If you know it's not combustion gas and you have a water cooled intake system, you know goddamn well that's where it's at.
Yep.
because you're getting pressure, right? It's not like you're just losing coolant, it's pressurizing. So if you're, it has to be something that can come under pressure. That is combustion, or in your particular case, you have another way to pressurize that system. And there's really only one other way outside of the compressor. The compressor is the least likely thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it has been. I felt like I was like throwing money at something. You throw band-aids at a kid with a broken arm. It's not going to fix a broken arm,
Yeah, for sure.
Like, God damn.
It's got to be that water, air over water system for sure.
All right, and that's another. I can't find these fucking things anywhere. They're like hen's teeth out here, dude.
Yeah, check out that Pittsburgh Power shit and get rid of all that crap.
That's not how probably. That's super tempting. Someone told me that an N14 air-to-air system will bolt on.
You don't.
But I'm not 100% sure on that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
All right,
man. Have a good.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the call.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, you too.
Alan, you're on the air, brother. What can we do for you? Alan, that's you.
Hey, you got me?
Yeah. Let's go. What do you got?
Hey, brother. Thank you for taking my call, man. Listen, I got a question. With buying used engines. Now, I purchased a EPA 7, so an 08 Detroit Series 60, 14 liter, out of a fire truck that, with paperwork guaranteed, had less than 100,000 miles on it. Long story short, it sat for a long period of time. Didn't have a crazy amount of hours on it either, and it ended up being a total pile of garbage. The liners were sunk. Put it in the truck. Put 15,000 miles on it, and immediately popped the head gasket. Pulled it apart, checked the liners, everything is in the negatives. My question is, I have another truck that needs an engine that I bought a glider kit with an insane amount of miles, and I'm not willing to rebuild this truck. It was a cheap truck. I found another engine, another 12 set. This has a 12.7 in it, with guaranteed, with paperwork, 200,000 miles on it. It was built by Detroit, rebuilt by Detroit in 2005. It's got 200,000 miles on it. Would you take the time to strip this 12.7 and go through it, or just put it in and roll the dice?
Somebody just said paperwork with quotation marks, and I feel that.
Because I got bit once.
Right. Here's the thing. I mean, if you got legitimate paperwork from, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a bad way to do it. It's a bad way to do it. It really is. It's always ends up being more cost effective to build what you have or whatever. I'll just give you my personal experience, okay? Or rather, what I would do, what I always did. I used to buy a lot of trucks. I owned as many as 20 some odd trucks, but I bought a hell of a lot more than that, right? And I never cared too much about the engine when I'm buying a truck. And what I mean by that is I would make sure that if I was buying a truck, I'd start it up, get it hot, make sure it didn't have excessive blow by, make sure there wasn't pressuring up the cooling tank, blah, blah, blah. Make sure it didn't have any runnability issues. So I can be pretty sure, it's good to go in general. And then from there, I worried a hell of a lot more about the condition of the truck. Drag links, cross links, torsion arms, brakes, drums, shocks, airbags, sleeper shocks, interior of the truck, hood bushings, all these things that cost you a fucking fortune if they've been neglected. And those being neglected give you a really good sense of the care that was taken of the engine.
No, I understand where you're coming from. I totally get that. So I bought this glider, this 13 Columbia glider with 650,000 miles on it, and it didn't have an engine. I paid $2,800 for it. The interior's nice, the chassis is good, but like I said, I just got bit on an engine with paperwork. You know what I mean? Who fucking would die again?
I mean, I'm the wrong guy to ask, right? I'm sitting here telling you by his bought and let's think about why I didn't. Yeah, I didn't care because I build engines, right? So I'm the wrong guy to ask, really. Telling me to sit up straight in the comments. I already talked about it. This chair broken. I can't force it to sit up straight. So I need to get a different chair. Anyway, so I'm really the wrong guy to ask for advice on that because I never really worried about that kind of stuff. A 12.7, you probably have a much lower risk of margin for error, especially if it was overhauled by Detroit. If the price on the engine is reasonable and you got such a good deal on the glider, do it, man. Do it.
All right, man. I appreciate you taking the call.
Yep. All right, brother. Have a good night.
You too.
Problem is everybody's in these days and will sell you a junk motor knowing it's junk. 2005 is 21 years ago. I'd be nervous. Yep, I agree with you, man. Some guy, you guys probably mostly all know about the engine deal that we had a little bit ago that we took care of the guy. He threw me under a bus. Anyway, his big bitch is he didn't get any paperwork, which I don't even know what the hell that's all about. The paperwork is part. Like he said, he didn't get any warranty paperwork. It's literally part of the quote. You get your warranty wording with the original quote. Just fucking nonsense. But in reality, what is the fucking paperwork worth? It's so dumb. Oh, they didn't even give me my paperwork. No, but I stood behind it and fucking paid $23,000 to make sure you were taken care of. So why do we care about the paperwork? How many motherfuckers get paperwork and it don't mean shit? Never means shit. It never means anything at all. The paperwork doesn't mean anything at all. The integrity of the people you're dealing with is the only thing that matters. Steel liner shims or brass liner shims on X15s. Personal opinion, man, I'd stay away from the steel. Have we ever used them? Yes, we've used them. We've used steel shims a few times on ones that were just so deep that we had to. But 99% of the time, we use brass. You need paperwork for court? Sure, if you say so. That's would be only coming from a guy that's probably never been to court over this kind of stuff. I can tell you that 99% of the time, the shop is going to win in court. The reason is, guys, is because when you're in court, the court views the shop as the experts. And so they default to the shops 99% of the time because they're the experts. It's like, if somebody was suing a doctor, the doctor's most likely going to win just based on the prestige of being the expert in the room versus the person that's not a doctor trying to argue malpractice. Okay. Go look at statistically, the odds of you beating a shop in court are basically this much, you're going to waste a bunch of money. It's very important. It's incredibly important that you pick the shop that you're going to work with diligently instead of worrying about how you're going to sue them afterwards. Some guy says he's beat a ton of shops. I don't believe you, first of all. And if you've beat a ton of shops, make sure that you tell me that when you come here. I don't want anything to do with you. You obviously sue all kinds of shops. That's just your thing. Anybody that says I beat a ton of shops, it's not somebody I'd even want to be around. That's ridiculous. Judge Judy did me right. The shop will rule in the courts as experts. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Okay, I'm not trying to dishearten you in any way. I don't want to dishearten you guys and tell you not to stand up for yourselves. I'm just telling you it's much more important that you focus on the shop you're going to's integrity beforehand rather than worrying about whether you're going to be able to sue them or whatever else, because your odds of winning are so incredibly small. That is not the smart route to go. Here's one of the best ways, in my opinion, this is one of the best metrics to figure out if you're working for a good shop, is if they give you a quote in advance and that quote encompasses, it doesn't have all these loopholes where they're going to charge you shit tons more money, right? And then as you're going through the deal with them, getting your overhaul done, are they updating you and keeping you abreast of everything going on? Any changes? Are you getting pictures? Are you being involved in the build? Or is this just going to be go to the end of it and here's your bill that's $15,000 more than we agreed to and go fuck yourself, right? And that's the biggest problem is guys will get a quote and it's never anywhere near the quote that they were given in the beginning. And there's no explanation other than some itemized bill at the end. The person wasn't included in the process the entire time. That's one thing that we do different here is we include you in the process, updated with pictures around the clock. Some shops are so bad that they need to be sued. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there's shops that don't need to be sued and they need to lose. That's not the problem. The problem I'm telling you is that using that as your backup plan is a bad plan because it's too hard to beat them because the court system views them as the expert. It's really hard to beat them. And they're the ones that hold all the paperwork. They're the ones that hold all the documentation. They hold all the evidence. They can build whatever narrative they want. And you're just fucked, man. You're just fucked as an owner-operator trying to take a shop to court and beat them. It's so much harder than you think. You know, that guy a minute ago that says, oh, I've sued lots of shops and won. I don't fucking believe you. I don't believe you even this much. I think you're talking out of your ass. I really, really believe that. You can't always prove it was the shop's fault either. There's just a myriad of reasons you're not going to beat the shop. It's just a myriad of reasons. Yep. 2006 MXS, just bought the truck, still has the twins. It looks like both the high and low pressure turbos are $500 on eBay. Don't buy those. They seem to be functioning fine for now. They will function forever, practically. It's a factory 435. Can I safely turn it up if the turbos are replaced? You don't need to replace the turbos. You can go turn that thing up to a 550. Stay with CAT file. You can go to CAT to do it. Have them turn up to a 550. All of the parts in that thing will function just fine. And your turbos will probably last as long as you need them to. They very rarely go bad on the ACERTs. Can the ISX 12 get an oil thermostat bypass? I'm pretty sure. I know Bryant is in the comment section. The inventor of those. He could probably answer that. I'm like 99% sure yes. Are you flatland or mountains? Are you talking to me? Well, when I was in Alaska, I was driving the most mountainous road on the planet. Well, in the Americas anyway. Hands down. But when I was in North Dakota, it doesn't get any flatter than that. So you could say I'm both if you want to get technical. Oh, and we got a couple callers. Is it safe to turn a 6NZ to standard? Not technically. A cell phone with a ton of storage is key for shops for top-notch customer service. That's K2 Diesel. 100%. We have a 2 terabyte phone here. Everybody that we're doing, they get PO, and that PO gets put into that phone, and that customer is texted updates and progress and everything. All communication is done through that one phone for every PO, 100%. Even if you're going to call me and I'm going to talk to you, I'm going to text you the narrative of our conversation through that phone while I'm talking to you. The whole conversation we're having. And just to make sure that it's all been communicated via text message. That's how we do it. Make sure that nobody can say that they weren't kept abreast the entire time. And our programming, we use ShopMonkey. We update it, the jobs daily. And a guy can, that is part of our process, can go view his job in ShopMonkey and get real-time updates all the time of how his job is doing. So he's getting communicated with 2 different ways. His end invoice is always updated as he goes, and his progress is sent to him via pictures and communication the entire time. And that's every job we do, 100% of the time. So I can tell you, when it comes to even people that buy engines from me, that I'm going to send an engine to, they get to be a part of the build. We include them in the entire process, including tearing it down. Even if they're buying the engine from me, I'll show them the engine that we're going to do this process from, and include them in the entire process so they know what they got. So anyway, and I'm not telling you, oh, I'm better than everybody else. I'm giving, there's other mechanics in here, other shops in here. I'm trying to give some suggestions on how you can improve your customer relationship. It has worked very well for us. You do what you want, but that communication, if you get one of those guys like that guy that says he sues everybody, boy, you're sure going to appreciate that 2 terabyte phone, and all that communication. Need more horses have a 6NZ with ceramic manifold, 78 millimeter bored turbo, 550 tune. What's next? I mean, the brake saver tune would probably do you wonders. That file, that is a 2157402 file, and that is a heavy haul file. Which 550 file is the best? The 2157402. In my opinion, for the 6NZs, you can't get a better tune than that. That's going to, and then just drop 1100s in as your trim codes. She's going to fucking shit and get, and you're going to love it to death. Don't be putting no 270707 tunes in there. Don't be doing that dumb shit. Anyway, got lots of callers. Let's go to the callers. I got notes. Well, the only reason I got some notes here is because I'll tell the story real quick. But callers, I'll get to you in just a second. I have some notes here because customer of ours, we built them a 6NZ, and it wasted the cylinder head. It's been 9 months ago. Wasted the cylinder head. Brought it in, had us take a look at it. And I was like, well, something's seriously wrong with this thing, right? So pulled it up, and you could see our tool number is 1800091, and tool number 748910 has been in there twice since we were in it last, and we put a 2157402 file on it, and this other tool put a 270707 file on it with massive trim codes, and wasted the cylinder head. So obviously, okay, we'll fix it for you, but I'm not gonna, and I'll do you the best deal I can, and we're gonna hook you up, but I'm not paying for it. So anyway, that's why I have these notes sitting here right beside me. So anyway, guys, what's the best what's the best one for the Acer? I don't have those notes in front of me. We have good ones for the Acers, but I can't rattle it off like I just did. My memory doesn't work like that, man. Charlie at Pure Diesel Repair, who I've known for a long time, and we talk quite often, but he's got one of those kind of memories. He'd be like, "Oh, that's the blah 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 blah." That ain't me, man. I wouldn't remember my wife's name if I didn't have to say it so often. And I don't know anybody's birthdays. I barely know my own. It's just I'm one of those guys. I never remember anybody's names, and I'm not a detail-oriented guy like that. So anyway, back to the callers. Sorry to keep you guys waiting. Jason Berkshire on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
Hello.
Yeah, man, that's you. What do we got?
Yes, sir. I was gonna. I have a 3406B. I bought McBee kit from y'all and the Hack Nation head, and I went back with 3406B injectors, and they didn't have those. That's what I was going to go back with, and I couldn't get them at the time the same day, so I went back with 3412 injectors, and then I went ahead. That made too much smoke. I couldn't clear it up real good, so I went with a E model manifold and turbo. I was kind of trying to see what your opinion was on that combination.
Oh, I change every B model I've ever done ever. I changed to the round port head and put an E model manifold and turbo on it. Every one I've ever done. They work so much better.
That's awesome. So what do you think on the 3412 nozzles or injectors? That everybody different.
I don't know, brother. It's one of those technical questions again that I'm just not good with those type of things. Like I would challenge there's not many guys alive, or at least still actively building engines that have done as many B models as I have, because all the old timers are just gone, right? So it's not a huge claim I'm making there, but there's not a lot of guys that do B models, and we do a lot of them. And every single one of them, I sit down and spec out because my memory doesn't work good enough that I can be like, oh, this is what we normally do. You know what I mean? And I'm too dumb to like make cheat sheets that, that I can quick reference, because every time it's like a new experience every time, but I build them all the same. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I understand.
But I just
I went back.
Sorry, go ahead.
I done that in my front yard, man. I pulled it up under our carport and built that motor up there at the house by myself, because I kind of had the poor boy. I didn't have the money to make it happen all at once with paying somebody else to do it. So I learned everything I could about that thing, and I messed with the AFC trying to clean the smoke up. I done everything I could. We turned the pump 30%. I actually went in and tried to turn it down a little. That didn't work, so I turned it back up. It was just smoking way too much from it, taking off. When you get in the hills and stuff, it was just my trailer was black. It had too much fuel. So
30%, in my opinion, is way too high. Just my personal opinion.
Is it? Okay. I did turn it down, but I don't know where I should be on that, really. I turned it down about a half a turn on both screws, and then I pulled with the AFC a little bit and kind of adjusted it some there to try to get it to where it needed to be. But I'm trying to make sure I ain't fixing to hold my motor out before I do.
Yeah, I don't know the easy answer, but 30% is that your problem's probably all originating from how high you have the pump turned. That's just too much. I mean, we build 600 horsepower B models all day long, and we're turning them up somewhere around between 10 and 15%, depending on what our pump guys decide we're going to do when I tell them what we're building it to and which model we have. Does that make sense? And,
Right.
and we build some rip roaring B models that shit and get and put out some black smoke, but we're pretty proud of our B models. We have like a 0% failure rate on them so far, right? And we've done so many for so many years. It's one of our most successful builds. Yeah, and I've never turned one up 30%. That's just yeah. I think this is where all your problems are coming.
Okay. I turned it back down some. That's where it was set at. I turned it down. I don't know how much a half a turn will turn it down. I turned it a half a turn. And
I mean, if I mess with the screws personally, I just do it all by watching the exhaust. I just know what they're supposed to look like, you know. I watched several old timers back in the day when I would have them tune my B models for me. I'd rebuild them and then have them come over and do them. There was the tutor helped me out with them in Alaska because I was one of the few guys that owned a couple of B models up there, and they'd tune on them and they would just sit there and run the gas, and I'd just pay attention to what they were doing and see what they were looking for, and I just kind of mirror that today. You know, I never. Now I send them all out and have them professionally done, tell them what I'm doing. We communicate and they send them back. I don't hillbilly them anymore. I had a lot of success with hillbillying them.
Yes, sir. I'm still having to hillbilly it. We're in the logging industry, so logging industry ain't the best. So I'm having to poor boy it myself.
You need to have a guy that knows pumps. Fuck with it before you burn that thing up. That's my opinion.
Okay. That's what I'll do. It's getting better as I play with it some, but like I said, I mean, it comes to a point where I need to take it somewhere.
Listen, brother, if you bought all the parts from us, and I'm not saying we wouldn't help you otherwise, but obviously we're going to help a guy a little bit more that's already working with us. We have sent several B model pumps to our pump guys for customers. And I'm sure that the guys there at the call center would facilitate all that for you. Get you a label, get it sent in. We'll just send it to our shop. They come right here, they pick it up, they bring it back here. We'll send it back to you, and it just costs whatever it costs. You know, we don't care. Just whatever they charge is whatever it is. You know, and they'll go through the whole pump.
Okay.
They'll go through the whole pump, make sure everything's good, and we'll just. You know, you can give us a list of everything, how it's built, and we'll tell them, and they'll set it how it's supposed to be, and then don't fucking touch it. Once you get it back, put it in and go.
Right. Yeah, that's my problem. I kept trying to mess with it, trying to get it right, you know, because it wasn't ever right. I had to do everything myself, and I sat there and set the timing and all that stuff. You know, it just I was surprised it ran when I cranked it, but it did.
All I'm trying to say is I don't want a whole bunch of people calling us trying to send us a pump, right? But if you're already doing business with you, we'll help you out, right?
Right. Well, I appreciate you taking my call, man, and I enjoy watching y'all stuff, and I think y'all are doing a great job. Everything y'all do.
Thank you, brother, and give us a call. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir. You too.
Bye. C15 Acer at 207,000 miles on an overhaul. I was getting oil on my step and fenders from the blow-by tube, so we put a cat blow-by filter on it. It blows dipstick out, and if I shut my truck up, I hear a howling sound in the oil filter tube. Could that be the air compressor? Anything to do with the blow-by other than the howling sound? that howling sound is most likely your check valve going back to the air dryer, and it is allowing air to come back in. It is incredibly unlikely that that is what is causing your dipstick tube to blow out and oil all over your truck. Could be, but it's incredibly unlikely. That howling sound's probably totally unrelated. Your howling sound is a bad check valve. But you most likely have broken rings or something else. Yeah, your engine's probably fucked. Sorry to say it. That blow-by problem is probably totally unrelated to the howling sound. They're probably complementing each other. But I'd say they're probably not the same problem. What is my worst customer experience ever? Oh man, 100%, hands down. It is customers where we have their truck here, and they're just not patient with our process, and they demand their truck, and they come here before we're finished and hang out for 2 or 3 days, bitching and bitching and bitching and causing so many problems, and they finally get their truck and they're happy, but put us through hell until they get it. And it's literally the reason that we're no longer doing in frames or out of frames, because I can't take it anymore. I can't take the people that come here before their truck's done. And I can't tell you how many times I've had to threaten to drive people or push people's trucks out of the shop, and they can just take it the way that it is just to get them to leave me alone. It doesn't matter. And it's always the guys that say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll tell them we're this far out before we can even start it. Yeah, I'm not in a hurry. And then they're the guy. It seems like they're always the guys that give you the most grief. I just can't stand being under people's thumb where they have this reason that they can just harass me to death. And I already told you guys our process. People are part of the process of their build the entire time, and they'll show up a week before it's done. They know it's getting close. They'll show up a week before it's done, even though we've been keeping them in a loop the entire time. And they spend a week causing us problems in person. Fuck. Yeah, and those guys always end up with the most problems when they leave too, because they pressure the shit out of us, and then we hurry, and then this hose and this zip tie and this bolt, and it's always the biggest fucking shit show every fucking time. And I can't stand it. That's my worst customer experience. It's those guys, and it's about 1 out of every 10 trucks we do. We do 350. It ends up being a lot of people, and it just fuck. Ugh. 2000 MXS Steam something. You're on the air, brother. What can we do for you?
What's going on, man? Yeah, it's a 2006 MXS, and I heard you had a caller a while ago with pretty much the same problem. It don't have a lot of blow-by, but it's steaming out of the overflow, and it ain't pushing a bunch of coolant out like that, but it'll just every now and then you see might be a little drip of coolant come out of it, but the mechanics tested it for exhaust gas, and it comes back negative. He said he's checked the air compressor, and that's not it. And
okay,
I've heard those A-certs, maybe the pre-cooler might.
Could be, but here's the question. How much cooling you having to add to it?
The driver, he said it was, he had to put about 2 gallons in it last week.
Okay. So you have a serious...
About a week's worth of run.
Yeah, you have a serious problem somewhere. You need to figure out where it is, for sure, before you are replacing a cylinder head.
Yeah.
I
was just wondering where else
that pre-cooler could definitely be it.
Yeah.
But you need
okay.
you need
it's constant.
Right. You're sitting in a good spot because you're not showing combustion gas. Your compressor is not causing the problem. But you need to figure it out before you end up with combustion gas problems, because you're relying on a driver not to overheat it and he's losing coolant. So figure it out.
Yeah.
Quickly.
All right, boss man.
All right, brother.
I know it. I can't afford it, but
Exactly. All right.
Appreciate it.
Later, brother.
All right.
Where's the coolant going? He says it's coming out of the coolant tank. He's pressurizing the coolant tank, but no combustion gas. Very well could be the pre-cooler. They did test the compressor. It's not the compressor. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. He needs to figure it out. Oil bypass system. You're on the air. What can we do for you?
Hey, Aaron. I got a NXS with a fresh overhaul, and I have your oil bypass system ordered. I have like 6,000 miles on this overhaul, and I guess my question is when would you drop the full synthetic oil in?
When you hit 10,000 miles. And I just want to let you know, an insane amount of people have bought the oil bypass from us, and I'm hoping that the guys told you that we don't have any right this minute. They've made 200 of them for us, but they're all getting engraved. So we're about, it's supposed to be this Friday. They're supposed to ship. So they'll take about a week to get to us, and then we're going to ship them out to all the people we owe them to.
Yeah, mine was ordered in March, and it's lost in shipment somewhere, but we'll find it. But I know it was shipped. Anyways, I was just wondering when to drop it into a fresh engine, but
okay, so
10,000 would be good.
I just had a customer picking up today, and he had us put the bypass system on. He's asking me the same questions. I'll just kind of tell you what I told him. First of all, if you're going to run our oil, it only makes sense to run our oil if you never change the oil. Because he bought 6 buckets of oil off of me, and he's like, so I'm going to change this every 10,000. I was like, dude, then don't buy my oil. It's not cost effective to buy my oil if you're not gonna follow the protocol. So here's how we envision this working. You know, once you reach 10,000 miles, you should be good to go. Go ahead and use our oil. Every 20,000 or so, change your truck filter. You have to use a little makeup oil then, a gallon or whatever. And then every 40,000, change both filters. And when we send you the filter, it's going to come with a oil analysis kit. And take your oil analysis then. As long as that thing comes back good, every single time, never change the oil. It's that simple.
Oh yeah, I like the idea and getting you guys to analyze as the engine goes. It's funny. My dad's a 50-year trucker, and he just thinks it's the dumbest idea ever. But he's just old school. He doesn't like change.
No,
it's hard to convince him.
So here's the problem. You know, I've been trying to convince Bob, Bob and Deb, to run the system. Yeah. I'm like, if you guys will run the system, as a test subject for me, obviously I've offered to do them some favors on it. Just run the system for me. And he just won't do it. Yeah. And the reason is because you're asking people to take away you're taking away their badge of merit. Right. And our badge of merits as truckers is how often we do our maintenance. And that's change our oil, grease the truck, all these things. And so I'm saying, let me take the one thing that makes you, separates you from all these other truck drivers, and you don't get to do it anymore. Right. And so it's a really hard sell. But here's the thing. It's the oil samples.
Yeah.
Some guy just says that seems to be bullshit. You got gapless rings. Well, first thing I'll say is get some gapless rings. I have them. But it's not bullshit because the oil bypass system takes all the contaminants out. So it doesn't matter if you have gapless rings or not. It's that simple.
Right. Cool.
Somebody
Cool.
said,
I appreciate it.
So, some guy just said the contaminants are in the oil, but if you're cleaning the oil, the additives are you're also losing the additives. Our additives in our oil are purposely submicron. Just so you know, our additives are under 1 micron, which makes them by default nano-sized, and that is purposeful, just so they can make it through our 1 micron filter. So we already thought of all that.
Right.
Anyway, brother.
So basically, your oil is the bypass system is cleaning it, which makes it never really break down. Is that a true statement?
Okay. No, it's not a true statement. So here's the thing. If you have our bypass system and you're going to run conventional oil, you still need to change your oil every 15 or so thousand miles because the oil will break down. The only oil in the world that doesn't break down is PAO oils that are not from petroleum. Like Schaefer's, for example.
Okay.
The Schaefer's full synthetic oil is not a PAO oil. It's going to break down. You have to have an oil that's made from natural gas that is a true synthetic, and it will not break down. Now, what it will do is get incredibly contaminated and acidic. So if you have a bypass system that pulls all the contaminants out and all the moisture, so in other words, it can't get acidic, then you can run it forever. Forever, because it doesn't break down.
Yeah.
That's why it works. So if you want to run oil forever, you can't just do the bypass system. If you want to run oil forever, you can't just do the oil, right? You have to do both, and then you can run 1,000,000 miles with the same oil. A guy just said in the comments, people have been running 1,000,000 miles without an oil change using the OPS system for years. He's absolutely fucking right.
Yeah.
Anyway, brother. All right, man.
Well, I'm going to try it out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And we get to be involved in that if you send us your results of your samples. We really want to see it.
I'm going to every time. So.
All right, brother. Awesome.
Cool.
Later.
Thanks, Aaron. Bye.
Bye. Is this better for the engine or just to save money or both? It's better for the engine by far. We've showed so many times where guys are running bypass systems or their valve trains look like they were installed yesterday. Their bearings look like they were installed yesterday. We're overhauling engines with bypass systems where the only problem is the liners are wore out because they have 1,000,000 miles on them. And we've showed you guys again and again and again. So, long story short, and there's been bypass systems where guys are running conventional, guys are running premium full synthetic, guys are running tier 3 full synthetic. We've got to see over the years the results of all those. And I can tell you 100% of people running a bypass system that are doing the maintenance according to the kind of oil that they're using, boy, they're just night and day different when you open them up. Night and day different. And you guys know I've been saying that way before we had an oil bypass of our own. You have to have gapless rings in order for that to be relevant. No, you don't have to have gapless rings for your bypass to be relevant. That is the point of a bypass. I don't understand why that's not registering for you. It's funny that Schaefer's rep will tell you their oil is a tier 4 oil. Look up Schaefer's oil and see if it's actually a tier 4 oil. Here's where Schaefer's fucking a little bit crooked, in my opinion. And a Schaefer's guy is more than welcome to call me and prove me wrong. But Schaefer's will use a tier 4 blend so they can call it a tier 4 oil. It's just more marketing bullshit. Why don't engines have gapless rings? Because they cost a lot of money to make, man. They cost a lot of money. I don't understand people. Oh, OEM would have been doing this all along. It's like saying OEM would have been doing tungsten disulfide all along. It was $10,000 for a 5-gallon bucket. No, OEM is not going to do it all along. The process to be able to coat them is a laborious process, right? Some applications use tungsten disulfide. I know that Eaton uses it on all kinds of stuff, right? But they don't use it on everything because it costs too much money. Price will always be passed down to the consumer. That's right. Price will always be passed down to the consumer. And at some point, the price has to make sense, right? So there's all kinds of things that OEM's not going to do because the price gets passed on to the consumer. How much does your oil cost? I believe our tier 4 full synthetic oil with the tungsten disulfide additive is $300 and something a bucket. So if you start to add that up, it's not a whole lot more than running regular oil, and you never change ours. The cost savings start to add up really fast. Okay, we don't have any more calls. Oh, the show's over. No wonder we don't go. So we won't be taking any more callers. That's all good. But I'll hang out with you guys for just a little bit longer. No answer. No answer about what? Ask me again. I'm paying attention. What didn't I answer, guys? Never change the oil. That's what I'm telling you. That's 100% what I mean. Don't change the oil. You love my shirt, so based. I'm sure most people don't have a clue about this shirt, but that's okay. Do I need your bypass system to run your oil? No, you don't need my bypass system, but if you're going to run our oil and not run a bypass system, you're wasting your money, guys. You're wasting your money. I don't want to be in the business of selling oil just to sell oil. If you're not running a bypass system and planning on running our oil for 500,000 or 1 million miles, it's not a cost-effective way to go. It's just not. Because you're still going to contaminate the oil if you don't have a bypass system. Can I run AMSOIL full synthetic oil forever with your bypass system? Yes, as long as your oil samples come back better. AMSOIL is an oil that you can use in lieu of our oil. The only problem with AMSOIL that you're going to run into is their additive package is not a sub-micron additive package, and our filter goes down to 1 micron. Their bypass does not. Okay. So you really want to, if you're going to run AMSOIL, I hate to say it, you really need to run their bypass system. I'm not a big fan of their bypass system. It's incredibly affordable. It's the most affordable one on the market. It's kind of crazy. They have one of the most premium oils on the market, and they have one of the most janky fucking bypass systems on the market. It's literally just a truck filter that they've stuffed 3 micron media in. And I have a lot of experience with truck filters. There ain't no fucking way in hell that thing's going to go the intervals that they tell you it's going to go. There ain't no way in hell. Our bypass system has 4,000 times the surface area, filtration surface area, and it's going to last way longer. And they tell you to go farther than we tell you to go. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. So, but they are going to a much bigger micron than us. They're not going down to 1 micron. And that's because their additive package isn't a nano additive package. So, you just have to really know what you're getting. I certainly wouldn't want someone to buy our oil just to run it. Is it the best oil on the market? Boy, I'd sure put it up against anything. But it's not cost effective enough. If you're changing your oil every 10,000 miles, don't run my fucking oil. That would be ridiculous. You can run like Rotella T6, good tier 3, multiple hydrocracked conventional oil. It's going to be way better for that application because you're not going to spend near the money and you're going to change it all the time anyway, right? Would I recommend going to a single turbo on an Acer for simplicity's sake? I wouldn't. I do them all the time, but I don't recommend them. How can you tell if the pre-cooler is causing pressure in the coolant? The easiest way to do that is to pull the hose off and look inside, and there's a little radiator inside. And if you see the coolant will crystallize on that thing, if you see presence of coolant anywhere on it, you got a serious fucking problem. If the thing looks like a brand new shiny aluminum radiator and you don't see any signs of coolant on it, don't worry about it. How is the Spinner 3? Okay, so your spinners are a totally different concept, guys. They're a centrifuge. I had a centrifuge on every single truck I've ever owned. I was always a big fan of them. If I could go back and do it again, I would not do spinners. I would do bypass filtration systems, but spinners are really good at taking the soot out of the oil, but that is pretty much the only thing they're good for. They do not give you cleaner oil. They just pull the soot out. Which helps, don't get me wrong, but a bypass system is just astronomically more effective and they're more affordable. Those spinners are expensive. I have a rebuilt 6NZ by you guys, recently installed the bypass, had leaking rear seal, replaced by you guys. I'm still consuming oil. I'm running your oil, no visible leaks. Any idea what my problem is? I will say that most of the time when guys are consuming oil and they come see us, we find an oil leak somewhere. It's most of the time. If there is no oil leaks and you're consuming oil, the best thing to do, there's some things we can do to figure out if you're burning it or, you don't actually ever really burn it. Burning it is just a metaphor for putting it out the blowby tube because you have excessive crankcase pressure. We can test that for you, obviously. There's other places that can test that. I don't know, man. If you actually had your engine built here, you should know my number. Shoot me a text tomorrow. I'll give you a call and we'll figure it out. Figure out what's going on with it for sure. Probably ain't got no gas in it. Okay. Anyway, guys, Royal Purple Oil. I've used a lot of Royal Purple Oil. Royal Purple Oil isn't. Dorian Schuler. Actually, I recognize your name. Yep, we did do your engine. Engine is fucking blown up. Well, hopefully Raging Cajun's not right. He does say that about every engine. So, could I yank the Spinner 3 off and replace it with a bypass filter with its lines? Yeah, pretty much. They work exactly the same. So, marine application, brother, I would never own a marine engine, and I own several that I wouldn't that would run without a bypass system. Bypass systems on industrial marine engines are almost a must. Any Aussies listening tonight? I think there's always Australians on here, man. Heavy haul. I will stop and help anyone I can that's broke down and carry tons of tools in my truck because I do some mobile mechanic stuff on the side. If truck drivers, if I could change one thing about the lower 48, if I could change one thing about the trucking industry, I would have truckers start to have a rule with each other that if a guy's on the side of the road and his hood is up, you stop and see if you can help him get going. If his hood's not up, keep on trucking. That's the rule on the haul road. And you know that on the haul road, not a single motherfucker will go around you if your hood's up. It don't matter if 5 guys have already stopped. Everybody stops. Everybody stops and sees if they can contribute to getting you going. 100% of the time. If the hood's up, no one's going around you. It doesn't matter if they're wearing fucking flip-flops. It doesn't matter if they're wearing cowboy boots. Everybody stops. Unless they're all waving you around. We got it. We got it. You know, oh, that guy's going to stop. Come on. We got it. We already figured this guy out. That would be the biggest change this industry could ever see. You know how many times just going home I see trucks on the side of the road? Guys standing beside the truck, 55 other trucks fucking just blowing right past him. Don't give a fuck. Don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. I've never seen anything like that till I came here. I thought when I came to lower 48, and it's a true story, guys, because all I knew was the haul road. That's all I ever did. I didn't do trucking other than the haul road. And I didn't know any better when I came down here to the lower 48. Every time I saw a truck on the side of the road, guys are fucking pulling up, helping it, you know, and fucking trucks going past us. We're on the side of the interstate, seeing if we can help guys out. I didn't really understand. I didn't really understand that it wasn't a thing down here. So it was kind of awkward when we first came down here. We're like trying to help out. All these guys broke down the side of the road. We were like the only fucking people. And I was blown away. I just assumed that trucking camaraderie was a nationwide thing. I didn't know it was isolated to the one place I was trucking in. You know, you lose your fucking job if you're a driver. If you're a driver for a company in Alaska, yeah, and other people call and say, you know, your driver just blew right past us. That guy is in real danger of losing his job. Seriously, you lose your fucking job for blowing around some guy with his hood up. I didn't finish my comment on Royal Purple. I mean, so here's the problem with all these guys, these synthetic guys. That have these great names, is once Mobile One lost their lawsuit. Once Mobile One lost their lawsuit for full synthetic, where they sued Pennzoil, I think it was. Once they lost the lawsuit and they were able to label petroleum-based oils as a full synthetic if it had been sufficiently hydrocracked enough times, all of these companies that were the top tier for full synthetics, like Royal Purple, Mobile One, and all those guys, they didn't have to, but they all joined the crowd once it no longer was beneficial to make your full synthetic from natural gas, which is a very expensive process. They all went backwards and joined the crowd, and everybody is producing a tier 3 full synthetic. That includes Royal Purple. That includes Mobile One. Still great oils, but your Rotella T6 is just as good for a better price. There's very few companies producing tier 4 oils. And I'll just name the two I know off the top of my head. I'm not saying there's not more. I just don't know who they are. If they are, it's Amsoil and us. That's it. And Schaefer's is not one of them. So tired of hearing that. Schaefer's is not one of them. Schaefer's oil is not a tier 4 made from natural gas oil. That's not a thing. They have an awesome reputation because they're I don't know how they got such an awesome reputation. I certainly haven't seen. We used to stop. This is a new breed, knows everything with their cell phones, can't help them. When we have mechanical engines, we could get each other off the side of the road. This new stuff, I'm sorry, I can't help you. How is T5 Rotella? Don't fall for anybody selling a semi-synthetic. You're just paying lots of money for nothing. the standard, the standard for a semi-synthetic is 1%. You can add 1% synthetic to tier 2, so you can add 1% of tier 3 oil to tier 2 oil and call it a semi-synthetic. There is no standard of how much of it has to be synthetic for it to be called a semi-synthetic. What do you think all the companies do? They do the minimum. You're just getting ripped off. Don't buy any semi-synthetics. Either buy fucking synthetic or buy regular oil. Schaefer blows if you don't drop it after 10,000. Then I can, there's your sign. If it's breaking down, then it's just regular oil. Tell me what Thomas is up to. He needs to make more videos. Thomas, guys, is gone. He's been gone for almost a year. He's staying in Oregon with my oldest brother, working at my oldest brother's diatomaceous earth mine. My brother needed a lot of help. They're getting that project up and running. It's running pretty good now. We've recently been talking to Thomas. He's going to come back soon. We'll have him coming back here before too long. But his older brother needed a break from him really bad. Newlywed, new kid. They needed a break from the brother. And it was just a good time to send him off to help my oldest brother. He'll be back before too long. Is the oil bypass system good for local driving, high idle, PTO? A bypass system is good for anything that has petroleum or anything that has a lubrication system. End of story, man. Oh, Mystic. Yeah, Mystic is fucking junk. Mystic is tier 2 oil with just enough tier 3 oil in it for them to market it. What are my thoughts on the MBN? I convert all of them to 6NZs, but the MBN's a great engine the way that it is. It's just much more user-friendly once it's a 6NZ, but the MBN was a great engine. I know guys that love them. I know guys that fucking love them. And we have monotherm pistons for those now. So, I used to convert them all to 6NZs just so I could use monotherm pistons in them. But now you can get a monotherm piston for the MBN. So, I'm probably wouldn't be as opposed to leaving them the way they are now as I used to be. So, people are still talking about how nobody stops for anybody. I took a video of that guy that fell in the ditch that's literally 300 yards from the shop. It's where you turn in to come down our road to come here. Frickin' guy, obviously on his cell phone, took the turn way too tight, didn't even just dump the trailer in the ditch. He dumped his rear drives in the ditch, and if you saw that video, I don't know, a couple videos back, that was me literally right here. And hundreds of trucks are coming in and out, and I got out and made sure he was fine. It may not look like I did. That's what I did. I stopped and went over and talked to him, and I was like, "You okay?" He said he's okay. And I was like, "You can't park here, dude." I gave him some shit, but I was like, "Hey, man, it's like this thing is not in that bad of a position." I said, "Just grab one of these trucks that's coming by and have them hook up right here on your truck with a chain and pull you out. You don't need to call a tow truck and all that other bullshit." He's like, "Yeah, nobody's going to stop for me, man." And he was right. Well, just while I was sitting there, probably 5 trucks just went wider to get around him. That's kind of my point, man. Any one of those guys could have got him out of that pickle. Bob and Deb don't want no part of it. No, Bob and Deb don't want no part of it is not really true. Bob is one of those guys who is not willing to lose his badge of merit. He has no problem running my oil. It's the bypass system that's getting to him. Oh, Deborah, you're on here. We made it back home just in case you were worried about us. Right on. I figured you'd text me that you made it back home, but glad you made it back home. Sorry you had to go down to Houston. I was kind of curious how that trip went down there. Bob's on. Who's saying that? I don't know. We've been talking about the oil bypass system. Callers are all done. Show's technically over. We've been talking about how nobody stops for anybody. Bob Murphy, elaborate on why you won't run his oil. You can do that if you want, Bob. It's up to you. But I wasn't throwing you under the bus. I was just pointing out that it's not for everybody. And I was also telling people not to run our oil if they're not going to run a bypass system, because they're wasting their money. Our oil is too, the upfront cost is too much. You save money really quickly if you're using our oil. But if you're not going to run the bypass system, it would be stupid, because it's not going to break down and you're just going to change good oil. You might as well run, I really like Rotella's T6 if I'm going to change my oil all the time. Or something equivalent to that. A good tier 3 oil. If you're going to change, if you're a diehard, I got to change my oil. Your tier 3 full synthetics, not semi-synthetics, your tier 3 full synthetics. But even then, extend your oil change interval. I'll give you guys a good example. I was able to test oil quite extensively in Alaska. Same road, 510 miles, same trip, same loads. 11 different trucks. Talk about a great control environment for doing oil testing. And we did, man. We tested oil around the clock, tried out every kind of oil. And I can tell you that a tier 3, taking out the 20,000 miles with a 10,000 mile filter change, shows way better oil samples than a tier 2 oil taken to 10,000 and dropped. Way better. So I started doing tier 3 oil to 20,000 with a 10,000 filter change on all of my trucks. And I know for a fact, I don't hope, I wasn't guessing. I know for a fact that my oil was better running a tier 3 out to 20,000. Now, if you can believe that, then it shouldn't be too hard of a stretch to think that you can take a tier 4 much longer for the same reasons, right? And so then you add a bypass system. Now you've completely changed the dynamics. What is an example of a tier 3 synthetic oil? Rotella T6. That's an easy example. Schaefer's. There's a good example. Pretty much any, Mobile One. Royal Purple. Pretty much any of those, to be honest with you. Anything that doesn't have this excessive price tag on it, but it's, definitely more than your conventional oils. I'm not buying your oil until my engine blows up and I can get a longevity plus from you. Here's the thing. That's fine. But I highly recommend, and you guys, not enough proof on the table, Kurt. Yeah, there is. You're not putting out any effort to do any research. Full synthetic oils built from natural gas and coal were invented in World War II, perfected anyway. I think they've been around longer than that, but they're perfected in World War II by the Germans because they had been cut off from all oil supplies and they had plenty of coal. So they started converting coal to full synthetic. And that's when full synthetic started to become a real deal and started to be studied and tested and all of that. Full synthetics have been around since the 40s, prolifically been used and proven. So what's my thoughts on Gulf oil? I don't know if that's a brand or what. Oh, fracked or marined. All oil is extracted the same way, whether it's off the Gulf or on land. It's all fracking, so to speak. You continue to fail at how your product's better than the rest. I don't know what you mean, man. if you're saying I'm failing to explain how my oil is better than other people's, well, you don't watch our videos. I just put out a video that talks about the tribology in the additive package. We have a tier 4 oil that right there sets it above almost every oil on the market, just by that alone. And then, so what would set us apart from AMSOIL's tier 4 oil? Nothing other than the additive package. Okay, so you in a competition between us and AMSOIL, they're both tier 4 oils. They're both going to be exactly the same as far as performance goes. So the only difference we could possibly have to separate us from AMSOIL is the additive package. Our additive package is very similar to theirs, other than the fact that we put a nano-sized additive package in ours just so it can get past our bypass system. And then we add tungsten disulfide. Ironically, the same people that supply the tungsten disulfide for our oil is the same people that supplies it for our bearings. And we put nano-sized additive of tungsten disulfide in the oil. And you can go watch a video I posted like 3 videos back showing the tribology and how that works and why it matters in the oil. How many miles can you run Rotella T6? Your oil sample is going to tell you better than I could ever tell you. I used to take Rotella T6. I used it prolifically. I also use Cinepex full synthetic, which is basically the exact same thing as Rotella T6. Cinepec and Shell both share the same oil fields. It's the same oil. So, you know, if you're going to run T6 and you can afford it, buy Cinepec by the barrel instead. You'll save a lot of money. It's same shit. I ran T6 to 20,000 consistently, and my oil samples always showed better than running T4 out to 10,000. Doing it, a filter change at 10 because you get too much suspension and you might start to experience low oil pressure. When I was running all mine to 20, some of my trucks, I'd start to get a little bit low oil pressure as I was getting closer and closer. So I just started making it a habit to always change the filter at 10,000. Now, we tell you if you're running our system to change the main filter on the truck at 20,000 and the bypass at 40. So you're going to be changing your filter twice. And that's because your bypass filtration system is cleaning the oil so much. The odds of you getting a clogged filter before 20,000 is incredibly small. Incredibly small. So do you have the Acert 625 back in that blue car hauler? No, not yet. We just got the head on it, on the engine, front and rear structure on it. We just got the head on it today. So we're just looking at putting the valve train in it and all the exterior items, and then we'll get it back in the truck. He's pretty anxious. The gentleman that owns that truck, he texts me like 15 times a day, and I told him that he needs to be patient and let me do this thing right, because if I rush it too much, he's going to get back a not a satisfactory engine, so he's got to give me a couple extra days. Should I put synthetic oil in my N14? Synthetic oil is good for any diesel engine, brother, or gas as well. Kurt, it just is the most negative guy I've ever seen. Kurt, I don't know who hurt you, but probably this isn't the best place to get your therapy. How is Lorenzo's oil? Lorenzo's oil, Lorenzo is the one that supplying our oil and our additive package for the oil and all that. I'm sure you know that. That's why you're asking me. If not, then there's your answer. Anyway, guys, well, it's getting pretty late. So all the companies just left you for no reason. No clue what you're talking about, Kurt. I probably need to get a doll in here so I can have you help me figure out where you've been hurt. With you, on the other hand, though, I'd be a little bit worried because it'd be embarrassing when I pointed at the doll's butt and you gave the confirmation. That might be a little awkward for all of us. So the doll's probably not the greatest idea. Anyhow, this isn't a good place for therapy. Who made that decision? I guess it kind of depends. This might be a good place for therapy. Sometimes it's a little therapeutic for me, especially when I get guys like Kurt. Get a blow up doll. No, man, I can't. I already took the phone lines down. It's a little process to get it all set up. And I would never accept your money anyway. I've never charged anybody for helping them out. I'm not going to start now. I do appreciate that offer, though, the sentiment, rather. You just have to call us next week, man. We'll be here. What do I think of using 1550 instead of 1540? I mean, it's fine. I've used 1030. Believe it or not, some engines ask for it. Some engines ask for it. So everyone is talking shit about me is over the road. Anyway, switched to Shop Monkey today. I think it's going to work a lot better than Full Bay. Yeah, my sons tried Full Bay. They did not like it. They switched to Shop Monkey. They had me hook up with Shop Monkey. I've been using Shop Monkey ever since. We really like it. We really like it. So, yeah, Shop Monkey's great. I'm sure it's all fine oil. I almost bought a barrel, but the rep definitely should not have been telling me it's tier 4 when it's not. Now, 2 years later, I have to find out from Aaron that I was lied to. What if I had made that investment? I'd be pissed. Now, all the research I've done, including the bottles I have here, I have Schaefer's here. I want you guys to understand. Everything I can see, Schaefer's is a tier 3 oil. Okay? Now, I'm not Jesus. I don't know everything, but I know a thing or two about oil. I'm 99% sure your Schaefer's is a tier 3 oil. That doesn't make it a shitty oil. It just doesn't make it a tier 4 oil. And I don't think it's worth the money buying Schaefer's when you have comparable products like T6 out there that will perform side by side with it and not have a problem. Jesus Christ, Kurt, you're still going off? You're trying to see where my oil fits in the marine applications. I don't understand why you don't understand that diesel engines, whether in a marine application or a generator application or a pump application or an on-highway application, they're all the same. One wouldn't need some kind of special oil over the other. They all suck, compress, go boom, spray. It's all the same shit. So I'm the same guy that stated over and over the road is different than marine. Yeah, you are equivocating. You probably need to Google that word, but you're equivocating. If I'm talking about tuning and I say, well, you can't just throw a marine application in over the road because your marine application is meant to be set at a certain RPM and the entire engine is built around that. So I can have a marine engine that is like a little C9 that can put out 750 horsepower. And if I tried to put that little C9 in a truck at 750 horsepower, it wouldn't even make it 500 miles before it blew up. And then saying that that's applicable to me talking about oil, you're a fucking idiot, dude. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. It's called equivocating. Look it up. Anyway, it's a little annoying. Do we have plans on making the block stiffer plate for the N14? No. You have to understand, man, the N14 doesn't suffer from front structure and rear structure oil leak issues as a general rule. I'm not saying nobody's ever had one that didn't have a problem, but it's not a general rule that your N14 is going to have these problems. It's almost a rule that your X15 and ISXs are going to leak on the front and rear structure. The stiffener plate dramatically helps with that. It also it's also, in my opinion, going to help with the liners dropping. I don't have enough data to prove that, but the nature of it says, yes, it will help with that. It's not like it's a new invention. Cat was doing it on their engines for a long time. A stiffener plate, and you're right, that's a really good point. A stiffener plate on an N14 would be a really good idea to help with the fretting that N14s suffer from. But I think that the N14 fretting problem is overblown by our community. We have rebuilt an insane amount of N14s. We do so many every year. We're always doing multiple N14s. We sell N14s. People travel around the country to come get N14s from us. We specialize in them. And in all these years, and I've owned 2 trucks with N14s, in all this time, I've only ever seen one engine ever that had fretting problem on the main caps. One. That doesn't justify talking shit tons of people into, man, you need to get this stiffener plate. I don't want to develop anything, fund anything, or come out with anything that isn't actually benefiting lots of people. You know what I mean? I see the reasons to have it on the ISX. I really do. Call Bob. Who are you telling to call Bob? And why are you giving out his number? You know, Danny, you're talking about doing what I was suggesting, going to 20,000 and change the filters at 10,000 running T6. So, well, here's what I have to say to all of you guys about any of these things to do with oil. You don't. Everyone call Bob now. That's kind of what I was saying. Is, oh, what are you doing giving his number out? You're crazy, Deb. Taking my word for it, forget about my oil, forget about the fucking bypass system, forget about all that shit. I'm sitting here telling you T6 to 20,000 is going to outperform T4 to 10,000. You know how you find out? You take oil samples. That's how you find out. Don't believe me. Test it out. Call here. In a couple of months when you've ran it, do an oil sample on your when you go to drop that oil and you're going to switch. Do us all a favor. Now, I already know the results personally. I already know what you're going to find out, right? Drop the oil, take an oil sample. Okay, you reached your 10,000 or 12 or whatever you do on your T4. Take your oil sample, send it out, and then switch to your T6, run it out to 20,000, pull an oil sample, and let's compare those two. And then you can call in here and we'll talk about it and see what we actually see. You can text them to me and I'll show everyone. That's, there you go. Same thing with all the people that are running our oil in systems right now, which is starting to become a hell of a lot. Every 40,000 miles, we send those guys an oil sample and they send us back that info. Right? So, we're getting real-time data as we go. Every time you get a filter from us for your 40,000 change, it comes with an oil sample kit. You did an oil sample on 20,000 on T6 and it said you could keep running it. I don't doubt that one bit. I don't doubt that one bit. Are we looking at wear metals? We'd be looking at all of it, man. We'd be looking at all of it. You'd be looking at, your silica, your copper levels, your suspension, all of it. Of course. You're going to look at all of it. We don't have a website, guys. Everybody's always asking me. We don't have a website. We're working on a website because so many people ask for it. And my boys really want a website. We paid a shit ton of money to have a website built. And it'll be kind of exciting to have one, but I like our call center way better. I don't care about having a website. Like this guy was just talking about one of our salesmen just spent so much time just trying to help him. That's what I prefer that way more than a guy just ordering some part because it looks flashy and he thinks he wants it. And we're all impulse buyers. I get that. And that's the point of having a website. But I don't really about how much it makes. You get many people all the time. We buy shit just as much as we talk them into shit. We want to know what you got going on. We want to see if we can figure out what you need to do. You can't believe how many times that people call in and we figure out what they got going on, and they're calling in, I need to get a price on an in-frame kit and a cylinder head and this and that. And then they start telling us the symptoms, what they're going. You're like, you got an injector pad, dude. Why are you trying to buy all this other shit? You know what I mean? That's a way better relationship. And we can't have that relationship with a website. So, anyway. You do? You have a website, wbobtrucking.com? Right on. I don't know if you're lying or not. I think I'm going to look that up. Probably redirects me to Bob's OnlyFans. Anyway, guys. All right, I probably better wrap it up. I really need to get going. I don't really need to. That's why I'm still hanging out. But I should get going. It's getting late. It's almost 10 o'clock. And now at our new shop, it's like a 20-minute drive to get home. Kurt is still over here having an aneurysm. I got carried away when you asked me about high horsepower engines. How does our oil work with high horsepower engines? Exactly the same way it would work in any engine. I don't understand what you don't understand about that, brother. The oil, the tribology of the additive package is going to act the same in any application. There's not some magical thing. Yeah, I think Kurt is tweaking. He keeps texting Fracker Marine. I don't even know why I bother answering him. It's really weird. Anyway. All right, Bob, Deb, thanks for joining us. Somebody asked me just a little bit ago. I want to say a couple things before I wrap this up. Somebody asked me a little bit ago, am I ever going to have Charlie back on the show? The answer to that is Charlie talking about coming here to visit me. Him and I are going to look at some stuff together. He's supposed to let me know here in a couple days. We're going to fly him in here. Really excited about that. Charlie and I go way back. He was going to fly in here and help me measure out a bunch of blocks. He was going to bring his line board tool. Him and I were going to look at a bunch of stuff together and hang out and just have some fun. And have him right here in the studio with me to do a show. So 100%. Yeah, going to have him back on the show, but most likely here with me. And then somebody asked me about Bob and Deb. Bob and Deb know that they're welcome to come on the show whenever they're ready. So 100%. Love to have Bob and Deb on again. That was a lot of fun. Whenever they're ready, next time they're sitting at, Page, on a Wednesday night, I'm sure they'll shoot me a text and tell me they're ready. So I'm not the one driving, so they have to kind of tell me. So anyway, guys, I'd call Bob to learn some dance moves. Me too, man. I watch all his videos so I can figure out how to get jiggy with it. Anyway, don't forget, Meezies was right. Less marks, more Meezies. Love you guys long time. I will catch you guys on the next one. Appreciate everybody for being here. I will see you guys next time. I really enjoyed myself tonight. I don't enjoy all of these. I really don't. Some of them are just a drag. I had a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate all you guys for that. And I hung out way longer just because I enjoy the comment section a lot. And you guys have been great. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys on the next one.